We live in extraordinary times where the spirit of entrepreneurship has spread around the global Silicon Valley. One of our core missions is to celebrate the leaders who have inspired generations of innovators and dreamers. That's why we launched the Global Silicon Valley Hall of Fame at the inaugural GSV Pioneer Summit in 2015, honoring Bill Campbell, Larry Sonsini, Diane Green, Dick Kramlich, and Mike Homer. This year, we are inducting our second class of GSV Hall of Famers. This unique group includes pioneers who have created, led, and advised some of the most important technology companies in the world. The impact they have had on the global Silicon Valley and the world is beyond measure. Gordy Davidson is a confidant of champions. He is one of the technology world's most trusted advisors, whose accomplishments read like a history of Silicon Valley, representing the leaders of Apple, Cisco Systems, Oracle, Intuit, Electronic Arts, Macromedia, and Facebook. He has worked on over 50 public offerings and over 100 mergers and acquisitions, including WhatsApp's $19 billion sale to Facebook in 2012, the largest acquisition of a private startup of all time. Gordy is viewed as a culture carrier and exemplifies the character that defines Silicon Valley.
My view of Gordy is he's the Tom Hagen of Silicon Valley. And the kids in the audience probably won't recognize the reference, but it's from The Godfather. It's the lawyer the consigliere, the guy who knows everything and has the best judgment. And so Gordy is always my recommendation to founders when their companies start to scale, when they get started, when they start to grow. And I'm convinced that at least half the problems in Silicon Valley can be solved if people would just listen to Gordy more.
I think Gordy instinctively recognizes the value of empowering others much more so than most people, which is particularly impressive given his level of individual talent. He's profoundly influenced the careers of many people, and I'm certainly one of them.
He's somebody who's very unassuming, but has a lot of gravitas, and like the old E.F. Hutton commercial, when he does speak, people really listen to him.
He is unflappable, and especially in a crisis, he's the calm in the storm. He realizes that it's important that he becomes both a business confidant as well as a legal advisor. And watching him gain the respect in the room, having people listen to what he says, watching him calm down the anxiety in a situation where there's a problem trying to be solved, is a sight to behold.
That vision and judgment that he has gives him a remarkable ability to steer people through very difficult waters to safer shores. There's so many times over the years when I've looked to Gordy to help think through a problem and know that he will always be a calm voice, a steady voice, and one that's informed by tremendous judgment. The funny thing is sometimes you attribute that judgment to someone who's been around the block a lot and seen it all. In Gordy's case, my suspicion is that he was able to do that when he was 25 as well as he can today.
He's really a business partner, much more than a lawyer. He's somebody that understands the legal implications of decisions you make and helps you accomplish your business goals and your challenges in a very unique way. He's somebody I would trust with my life.
It was 1993, no, probably late 92. We were contemplating our IPO. John Doerr was on the board, and he said, you're currently using a famous Silicon Valley law firm, but you're not being as well served by them as you could be. You can do better. And I know the guy. It's Gordy Davidson. And boy, was John right. Gordy is so much better, and has been. I mean, that was 1993, a long time ago. So yeah, it was thanks to John Doerr, and I am so glad that he spoke up.
Gordy's, I think, been my most trusted business advisor. It's a hard thing to start a new company. It's a hard thing to grow a Cisco, or to build an Apple, or to launch a Facebook. And Gordy's had a hand in shaping each and every one of those companies.
I believe that half the companies in the Silicon Valley today probably wouldn't exist if they didn't have Gordy giving them advice and counsel.
I think Gordy's the culture carrier for the Valley and for the core values of the Valley. And so I think he really helps, especially the new founders, really understand the right way to do things. And I think, years later, I think people realize what a very special opportunity it was to be able to learn that from him.
Hey, Gordy, congratulations on your being honored and welcomed into the Global Silicon Valley Hall of Fame. You deserve this. You rock.
Carol Bartz is a fearless builder. She came onto the Silicon Valley scene as an executive at Sun Microsystems. Carol soon pursued an opportunity at Autodesk, where she served as CEO and chair, transforming the company into the profitable software leader it is today and growing annual revenue from $300 million to $1.5 billion. She's a highly respected board member and role model to many of Silicon Valley's brightest leaders.
I know Carol as a friend, as a business partner, as a great CEO, someone who's very much involved in politics when appropriate, and somebody who literally cares about the future of Silicon Valley and the world.
Carol's always been sort of my guardian angel and godmother, even though we're about the same age.
I think the thing that makes Carol so special and that I think so many can learn from is Carol's really authentic. There's no business Carol and home Carol. There's like Carol Bartz. This is the package. This is what you get.
She's unique because she's very logical, has a very analytical, mathematical, logical mind. But then she still had a great personality and a lot of the big smile, so she could help move people along. Plus, she was tough as nails.
I'm an engineer. My approach to attack problems is just to attack. It's to go right after, put a plan in place, etc. Carol taught me to stand back, look at the big picture, manage through others, and it gives you a better perspective. You're not focused on all the trees, you're focused on the big picture. And I really like that about Carol.
Carol's impact was pretty profound from my perspective on women. Carol came up the sales side of the business, but was super sharp, very well read, related to engineers, related to men and women equally, right? She was almost I think her perspective was sort of a gender-free zone. And I think that notion of gender neutrality was super important to the way that women behaved and felt empowered in the business.
Carol's impacted my career and life in so many different ways. She's been, I think, a role model for somebody that knows how to handle successes, but also somebody that handles the challenges in life remarkably well. At Autodesk, she set an example over 15 years of just unequaled growth. If we had the market share at Cisco that she had at Autodesk, we'd be in trouble with the Justice Department. But she did an amazing job, and I've learned so much from her in almost every category.
Carol is a quality human being. She gives back. She gives back to society. She gives back to women. She is always there to help. She is the kind of friend we all want to have.
I think her legacy forever is her family, and what a great person she has been on the family side. All of us can create businesses. It's much harder to create a great family, and she's done that.
When you think about Carol, you think about a great leader. You think about a person that changed Silicon Valley, that literally broke the gender barriers for so many women here in Silicon Valley and was a great role model. Someone that is remarkably direct and gets the tough issues on the table and then debates them. She doesn't ignore them. She said, let's address them. You think about a friend for life, that somebody will always do the right thing. When you think about Carol, we love you. You are amazing.
Hey, Carol, congratulations on your induction into the Global Silicon Valley Hall of Fame. I can't imagine anybody more deserving.
Ken Coleman is a pioneering mentor. He has long been a trailblazer in Silicon Valley. He was notably the Executive Vice President of Sales, Service, and Marketing of Silicon Graphics, a groundbreaking computing company. He has mentored some of the most influential leaders, not only in Silicon Valley, but around the world. In addition to being a prominent philanthropist, He is now the chairman of Saama Technologies, a special advisor at Andreessen Horowitz, an advisor at Pinterest, and a board member at numerous leading companies.
Ken is so wise. It's really crazy. I've met with him for years, and I would say every time I met with him, I've ended up learning something. Something about myself, or about leadership, or about people.
I think the first thing I learned from Ken, I had just become a manager, and he pulled me aside and he said, now you're in the people business. And the only competitive advantage we have in tech is who we hire and how we treat each other. And from that moment on, I tell lots of people you're in the people business.
Ken's someone who I jokingly say has 2 ears and 1 mouth and uses them proportionately. He listens more than he talks, and he wants to make sure that people hear his point of view. And because he is so deliberate and determined in what he has to say, you have no choice but to listen. And quite frankly, learn from that experience. He's a really, really wonderful guy, a brilliant guy.
Oh, he connects with people more than I've seen anybody else. You can walk into the room with Ken and you get drawn to him. But he also has incredible insight about how to coach people, how to mentor people. There's probably nobody who has higher EQ than I've ever met.
He always saw something more in me than I saw in myself. And I think that's really the biggest part of his legacy in Silicon Valley, is he's done that with hundreds and hundreds of people, where people thought of themselves in some way, and he saw something in them that they didn't see themselves, and he was able to draw that out, or cajole them, or push them, or do something. And so many of those people today are great leaders, not only in Silicon Valley, but all over the world.
One of the lessons that I've learned from Ken is to be a connector. Ken is constantly connecting people. He's listening intently, and then he's connecting people that he thinks can help you grow, can help you succeed in your goals, and he's that bridge. And that bridge transcends area of work, different interests, different ages, different races. He's a connector. And he is a what I would call a quiet giant.
As an early pioneer in this industry, in this valley, he has never ever let go of the idea that more women should be involved in technology, more people of color should be involved in technology. And I think that has had a profound effect on people in general, certainly people at companies like Google and Facebook and other places.
Ken and Caretha have had such an impact on giving back to the community, not just dollars and time, but really the passion that they have for going where they're most needed. There's so many individuals and families that have been touched by them over the years.
I feel Ken has been a gift to this industry. I truly believe that. My own personal career, I feel I couldn't have imagined how far I have gone in my career without the advice, mentoring, and coaching of Ken in my life.
I don't think you can ever ignore the impact that Ken has had on so many people in this valley. And it's not just people of color, I mean people in general. He has been here for a long time. He truly is a legend in the valley. People recognize him just on sight. They recognize him for the impact that he has had here, and so I couldn't be more proud to have him as a friend, quite frankly.
Well, I just want to say thank you. I mean, he's one of those rare guys that can choose to do what he wants with his time, and I'm actually just really thankful that he finds time to help me out and to help Pinterest out. Yeah, and so just thank you so much for his friendship and for all of his guidance.
Ken, congratulations on your induction into the global Silicon Valley Hall of Fame. Well deserved, my friend.
Andy Grove was the legendary leader of Silicon Valley. It is hard to describe the profound impact that Andy had on the world, other than to say that Silicon Valley would probably not exist today without Andy's leadership at Intel, which laid the foundation for the entire computing industry. During his time as CEO, Intel's market capitalization skyrocketed from $4 to $200 billion. His untimely passing this April sent shockwaves through the valley. He was a legend, a mentor, and a friend to generations of technologists and innovators. We will miss him dearly.
I was very fortunate to meet Andy. He was one of the great people I've known. I learned that he was a good friend, that he wouldn't take any bullshit from anybody, and he knew where he stood with him, and he knew where I stood, and we got along just fine.
Andy was maybe the most driven guy I've ever seen. He had an incredible ambition to push the boundaries in every regard.
What was so profound about Andy was his ability to inspire you, almost to demand of you to bring your best self into everything you did, into your work, to take risks, to be fair, to be open about what the facts are, to confront issues and not people. He had this ability to just break through and to really challenge you how to think.
He was going to make it go. I mean, it was just passion. Intel was his passion, and he was going to do it. By God, he was going to do it.
There was no question about who was in charge at Intel. There was no question about what everyone had to do. And he was a superb leader for, I think, the most important technology company of its time.
It was just incredibly warm and funny on a personal basis, and just such an incredible longevity of seeing the future and having the will to build it from the minute he left Budapest to the very last moment. And if we can all keep doing that, I think Silicon Valley will be fine, even 50, 100 years from now.
I think the right place to begin is with the billions of people on this planet whose lives are better because of the microchip, the microcomputer. I mean, Andy Grove democratized computing. He made it affordable to everyone.
This is a guy who escaped Hungary from the Nazis and from the communists, got on a boat, took a 3-month boat ride, was handed whatever he was handed, $20, didn't speak any English, and put himself through school and built Intel, and then left us with a legacy of how we manage companies in Silicon Valley.
I think I will remember Andy sometimes with fear, with a lot of admiration, with laughter, and just an obligation to keep that sense of Silicon Valley alive.
I think for a lot of people, Andy Grove is a name and a face and a legend, and he's not a person. He's a bigger than life figure in history, like Thomas Jefferson or something. But I've been at Intel long enough to know a lot of people who actually worked with and worked for Andy Grove. And what they describe him as is this amazing human being, this person who could be tough as nails at work, but who also had a huge dose of humanity in terms of how he dealt with people.
So after Andy retired from Intel, I worked really hard to get him on the board of Amazon. He almost accepted that offer, or the board of Google. He felt it would be better for Paul Otellini to serve as that board member, but he and I maintained our friendship. And so I once asked him, Andy, what's your greatest legacy? You must be enormously proud of the company you've created. How is it now that you're not running Intel? He said, John, I want to tell you what matters to me the most is my grandchildren. When I look in their eyes, I see the future, and that means more than all the Intels in the world.